Alright, today we've got a part of a report, it looks like. I'll go ahead and read through it first. This is the body this is the body 2 of my report. Please help me improve it. There are several there are, there are several setting and phases to treat these diseases, such as prescription of medication by general practice, surgery by specialist, emergency care, acute care, rehabilitation, and long-term care. Alright, staying away from smoking, being physical, active, and an increased consumption of fruits and vegetables can be prevention for these diseases. Low to moderate consumption of alcohol is potentially protective. Alright, so this is the body 2 of my report. Okay, so there's really nothing wrong with that, but I would probably say this is part 2 of my report, or this is the second half of my report, or I think maybe by body you might mean paragraph, and you could say that as well. This is the second paragraph of my report. This is body 2 is fine, but it just kind of sounds a little weird. Please help me improve it. Perfect. Alright. So this is a really long sentence. Let's go ahead and break this down. There are several setting and phases to treat these diseases, such as prescription of medication. I think this needs to be settings. I don't know. I'm not really familiar with the with any sort of medical essays or anything, but so what it looks like is this needs to be settings, because this R right here, there are, okay, so if you say there are, we're expecting to hear something plural after, right? Several, that's a plural thing. Setting is not plural. One setting is not plural. Settings is plural. Phase, not plural. Phases, plural, right? So you have to have both of these plural for that R to make sense in that sentence. Alright? To treat these diseases, such as prescription of medication by general practice. I don't think that by general practice is necessary there. It doesn't really, like I said, I'm not really in the medical field, so I won't, well, yeah, I think that just makes it sound too long. Surgery by specialist. We kind of know that surgery is always going to be done by a specialist. Nobody just performs a surgery unless they're really, well, I guess there are some doctors that don't know what the hell they're doing, but it should be done by a specialist. So this we can kind of omit, because let's see, surgery by specialist, surgery, emergency care, acute care, yeah, it kind of sounds a little off, because you said by for this one and then by for this one, but not for the other ones. If you were to say something like prescription of medication by general practice, surgery by specialist, emergency care by nurse, acute care by general nurse, or whatever the terms are, rehabilitation and long-term rehabilitation by an exercise trainer, and a long-term care by a hospital bed. And that, I think, it would take the sentence to like way extreme length, and you'd probably want to break it down into a couple sentences. But since you only did it in just 2 of these, I don't think that it fits. So I'm going to go ahead and say that those should be chopped. Diseases such as prescription of medication, surgery, emergency care, acute care, rehabilitation, and long-term care. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave that at that. Staying away from smoking, being Okay. Being physically active is an adjective. Physical is an adjective, but since you're adding physical to active, let's see, how do I explain this? I think physically is actually I think, let's see, looked up moderate for that last sentence. I think physically is an adverb. No, it is an adjective. Okay, whoops. So it needs to be physically, because it's an adjective for active. So being active and an increased consumption, right? So you don't just want them to be active because their brain could be active, their mouth could be active. You want them to be physically active. You want them to be doing physical actions like running, swimming, things like that. So that gets an extra L, and I think that's how you spell it, yeah. So physically active and an increased consumption of fruits and vegetables can be prevention for these diseases. So alright, so I think since you have being here, so being is either a being is the present tense, right? He's being annoying. He's currently being annoying, right? He's being annoying. That means right now he's annoying you. So then you go on and say an increased consumption. That's not a current thing. That's like a will do type thing. Oh, how do I always do that? I mean, being physically active, that's a kind of a will do thing as well. Like you will start being physically active and that'll help you, and you will increase your consumption of fruits and vegetables and that will help you. But I think it would sound better if you say and increasing consumption of fruits and vegetables. I think that would just sound better. Whoops, and then you'd get rid of and so being physically active and increasing consumption of fruits and vegetables can be prevention for these diseases. So can be prevention makes perfect sense. You'll more often hear someone say can prevent these diseases, right? But if you're writing an essay, sometimes you'll word things in a more eloquent way, and I do like this wording that you have here. So I will say that that's a good choice here. Can be prevention for these diseases. You can also change that to can prevent these diseases. But I don't know what this essay is for, but I'm assuming you're trying to impress the person that you're writing it to. And this is, I think, a very eloquent way of saying can prevent diseases. So I would stick with that. Low to moderate consumption of alcohol is potentially protective. So moderate is spelled with one T. And I looked up moderate because I wasn't really sure exactly. Moderate, it says, means of medium quantity, and that's the meaning you want here. um, or and then kept within a reasonable proper limits, right? So a proper amount of alcohol or a low amount of alcohol, that's what you're saying here, can potentially be protective of your health. Um, so moderate to me kind of almost is low. Um, if you moderately consume alcohol, that means to me that you don't consume much. You consume a low amount. So I think that this low to moderate is almost like saying like low to low consumption. And it doesn't make sense if you say that. Um, you could say like no consumption to moderate consumption, but that sounds, I don't know a better way to say that. Low to moderate. I mean, low to moderate works according to this definition. It does mean medium. So low to medium consumption of alcohol is potentially protective. But I would almost just chop off. I think I would just chop off this and go with moderate. Moderate consumption of alcohol is potentially protective. Um, and I think that sounds perfectly fine. Um, your way it does it works, but I think the low two just adds on something that doesn't need to be there, and that's not always a good thing to add things that don't need to be there or to lengthen a sentence just for the sake of lengthening it. And I think that's what the low two does. It kind of just lengthens the sentence just for the sake of being lengthened. Um, and doesn't really add anything, because moderate is in low quantity, it is in a medium quantity, it is watching the quantity. So watching the quantity of consumption of alcohol is potentially protective. That makes perfect sense. So you don't need the low two, because the moderate isn't a number. So you would say 2 when you're saying something like 1 to 10, or between the ages of 40 and 50, we have, 5 people in this classroom that are between the ages of 40 and 50. So a moderate it incorporates low to medium. So I don't think that low 2 is required there. I went on and on about that, but that's my 2 cents on that matter. I'll go ahead and leave you some more notes, but as of the video, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I hope that I was able to help you with your questions. If you have any more, just post them on Lang 8 and or on your little post. And thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.